Heaven's California.
Okay, hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a reaction part 2 to Corpse Husband 3 Ouija board stories. So I took the first story out, so it's going to start at story 2, 27 minutes. So it's a long one still. So if I do days out a little bit, it's kind of like, it's just because it's long and just because it gets kind of boring, to be honest. Like, I think you guys can feel me, because like if it's such a long story, 27 minutes, 2 stories, that's like what? What's the math there? 13.5 minutes? That's like a long time average. Whatever. I mean, we'll see. If they're entertaining, okay. But the first one wasn't too entertaining. I mean, it was okay, but I feel like it was dragged on a lot. I don't know. So like, if you guys do recommend really long videos, I don't mind. But like, try to make it like be like not 3 and like 47 minutes, because that's like, that's so lengthy. Anyway, guys, 27 minutes, part 2. I'm gonna start at story number 2. So let's get into this.
Number 2. Alright, guys.
I'm that asshole. You know, that asshole who moves the pointer while playing with a Ouija board. I don't know why. I guess I just liked knowing I was the one responsible for scaring the shit out of people instead of something or someone I couldn't see.
Evil.
Or maybe I just didn't believe that a commercially made product could talk to ghosts. Who knows? But I found out. Karma definitely is a bitch. One night in college, a friend of mine was over and we were studying. One of those ghost shows came on the TV and they were messing around with a Ouija board. My friend, Liz, said offhandedly to me, "You know, I've never played with one of those."
Here it
I was
comes.
definitely surprised. Ouija boards were such a staple of my childhood. Hundreds of sleepovers with me scaring the crap out of my friends by moving the pointer on the board and that whole light as a feather, stiff as a board thing. I couldn't fathom someone growing up and not experiencing it. I started talking about random experiences I've had with the board and tried to convince her it would be a good idea to run out to the Walmart and buy one. Finally, I was successful and off we went, our studies abandoned on the table. College priorities at its finest, I guess. After our Walmart trip, we got back to my apartment and opened the box. We spared no expense. It was the glow-in-the-dark special edition. Talk about class. Liz looked like she was about to piss her pants as I explained how to put your fingers on the pointer. We lit some candles and turned off all the lights. "Okay, so just ask whatever," I said, secretly smirking. "Like what?" she asked. "I don't know, something fun, like when am I going to die or something." This was always one of my favorite questions for people to ask because while pushing the pointer, I could really freak them out. "I don't want to know that." Damn. I was a bit disappointed but went with it. I suggested just trying to open our minds and see who would come through. I was already planning to have JFK come through. Not many of my friends know I'm a huge JFK fan, so I can usually creep them out with the amount of knowledge the ghost of JFK knows about his assassination and whatnot. We put our fingers on the pointer and nothing happened. I was letting the tension grow before I started my pushing. It's always better to start slow. All of a sudden, the pointer started to move. And I wasn't pushing it for once.
Oh, here it
"You
is.
can't push it," I yelled at her. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. I didn't want her to ruin my plan. "I'm not," Liz shouted back. "Well, obviously you are, 'cause I'm not." "Aren't the ghosts supposed to move it?" she asked. I guess she got me there. I just sat back, shut up, and watched the pointer move. I was convinced she was moving it. She had to be. There was no way a ghost was communicating with us through a glow-in-the-dark spirit board that I bought for $17.99 at Walmart.
That's expensive.
After
Is
a
it?
few minutes, we finally got a message. IMISSULIZ. I miss you, Liz.
Oh, I was
Liz
trying to
was
see that once.
understandably a bit freaked out
That's
that
kind
the
of scary.
spirit knew her name. I was too, but I kept telling myself she was moving it, whether it would be subconsciously or not. We kept going. I need to see you again soon.
Creepy.
It spelled out. I need to see you again soon? What does that mean? Liz asked,
It means she
getting
wants to
more and
fuck you
more
up.
freaked out.
Or the ghost wants to fuck you up.
I don't know, I said, and honestly meant what I said. I had no idea what was going on. I hate to admit it, but I was starting to get freaked out. The Ouija board never worked for me before. You're moving it, she yelled. No, I'm not, I swear. And I did swear. I wasn't moving it for once in my life. Yes, you are. She kept insisting I was moving it, but we kept going. The pointer stopped moving for a few minutes. I was intrigued, yet scared. I wanted to see what else it would do, but I was afraid of what I might find out. Finally, getting a bit impatient, I asked the first question of the night. Who is this? What do you want? I am Will. Hello. Liz, I still love you.
Oh my god.
Liz looked like she was going to lose her dinner all over the board. Who's Will? I asked. Seriously, are you moving it? Liz responded in a thin whisper. No, I told you I wasn't. Who's Will? He's, my ex-boyfriend who killed himself after we broke up. Really?
That's sus.
Are you moving it? Because this isn't funny.
That's sus. That's creepy.
I tried to convince her that I wasn't, but she didn't believe me. She just sat there looking like, excuse the pun, she had just seen a ghost. I suggested that we quit. Listen, Liz. Obviously this is upsetting you. Let's just stop now and... No, I need to know if he's okay, she said with a determined look on her face. But I have to make sure it's not just you pushing it and fucking with me. After a bit of discussion, we decided that I would keep my fingers on the pointer but keep my head down and not look. That way, I wouldn't know where to push it.
True.
I agreed and sat there, feeling more and more uneasy. I put my head down and closed my eyes, trying to focus all of my energy, or whatever the hell Ghost Will needed to maybe bring some closure to Liz. After about a minute of sitting there with my head down and eyes closed, I started to go cold all over. It was unlike any other feeling of cold I have ever had. The only way I can describe it is that my bones were cold and it was chilling me from the inside out.
That's creepy.
I tried to brush it off. Maybe there was a draft coming in from the cool spring air outside.
Yeah, okay.
Then, without warning, my head, for lack of better term, exploded with all of these gruesome images I couldn't control. It was as if any single irrational or rational fear that I had throughout the course of my life multiplied its intensity by 1,000 and slammed into my brain at the same time. It only seemed to last for a second and a year at the same time, but regardless of however long it was, every single image was burned into my head. I jerked away from the table, trying not to scream. What's wrong? Liz asked, smiling at me. What the fuck was she smiling about? Why are you smiling? What the fuck is so funny? I could barely contain myself.
Oh, was it her doing it? Was it Liz?
Deep down, I knew I was acting crazy, but I couldn't help it. Nothing's funny. I'm just smiling because I had the nicest conversation with Will. He doesn't blame me. What the hell do you mean? I snapped again. It's only been like a fucking minute since we started. Liz's face scrunched up in confusion. What do you mean? I've been talking to Will for the last 2 hours. What the fuck? Needless to say, I was a bit creeped out. Okay, more than creeped out. I was terrified. I threw that damn board back in the box as quick as I could and blew out all of the candles. I shoved the box into the closet as far back as it could go. I didn't want to look at it anymore. I announced abruptly that I was going to drive Liz home and open the door, trying to hurry her. It was definitely out of character. She obliged, however, and we got into the car. The whole 5-minute drive seemed like an eternity. I could swear I'd see things on the side of the road, but at second glance, they weren't there. Images I had seen of my babysitter mutilated and whatnot from that weird trance-like dream, I had started to shimmer in the corner of my eyes. I swerved about 1,000,000 times thinking I was going to hit one of these things, but nothing was there.
It was on your
By the
head?
time we got to her apartment, Liz looked at me like I was crazy or something. Are you sure you're okay?
Was it her the whole
She
time?
asked. Yeah, just get out of the damn car already, I snapped back at her,
Damn.
almost surprising myself with how mean I was being. Though I fully admit to fucking with people while using Ouija boards, I really am a nice person, I swear. Liz did as I asked, and I sped away, eager to get to the safety of my apartment. When I opened the door, I noticed two things right away. It was about 30 degrees in the apartment, and all of the blinds and curtains were wide open. I was confused, but I tried not to let my mind wander.
Sus, there's a
I
ghost.
shut all of the curtains and cranked the heat. It was April, so it wasn't freezing outside, but it wasn't exactly hot either. Normal springtime weather. After shutting all of the blinds and whatnot, I sat on the couch and tried to turn on the lamp. The light went on and then popped off. I again tried to shake it off as a shitty coincidence. I changed the light bulb but went to turn it on again. Pop. Out again. I then went to go turn on the overhead light instead. Pop. All three bulbs popped off at the same time.
Popped off?
At about this point, I was basically pissing my pants. I was so scared, but I tried to remain as calm as I could. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. I grabbed
believe
as
you.
many blankets as I could and sat on the couch in the now dark living room. I was going to light the candles we had used when we used the board, but I didn't want anything related to that fucking thing around me. I turned on the television and blared it, hoping that I could just attribute any noise and flash of something in the corner of my eyes to the television. Come on, you know you've done that too. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I was just starting to doze off when this loud beeping woke me up. It sounded like the worst alarm clock ever. It was coming from the closet where I had thrown the Ouija board.
Oh, snap.
I slowly went over and opened the door. Out fell an alarm clock, an old one that I used to have. I think it was my roommate's. I hope it was my roommate's. Blaring uncontrollably. I hurriedly shut the door so the Ouija board would stay in there, and I started looking at the clock to turn it off. Not only were there no batteries in it, nor was it plugged in anywhere, but the time flashing on the clock was 4:16 a.m. My birthday. What the actual fuck, okay?
Oh my
Needless
god,
to
that's
say,
scary.
I think
Holy
I got
crap.
quite far and it broke into 1,000,000 pieces. I wish it stopped there, I really do, but little did I know that was just the warm-up, so to say, the opening act to a shit show that has become my life. I hope this is enough to convince everyone never ever, ever to fuck with a Ouija board.
Well, I wasn't going to.
Number 3. Well, for starters, I want to say that I don't really believe in all this stuff. It is hard for me to describe, mainly because I like to think something psychological happened rather than paranormal, but I guess I'd leave that for the readers to decide. Also, I'm sorry if the story is a bit long. It took place over a week or two in the summer of 2011, and I want to cover as much of it as I can.
It's about 14 and a half minutes
It was the summer
long.
after my first year of college, and things were going well for me. I'd been dating this girl for over a year. We'll call her Stacy.
Okay.
And school was good. Anyway, I'd be hanging out at this local coffee shop with some of her friends. We'll call them Emma and Helen. We were bored and not much had happened that summer, and we needed a change of pace. We'd been talking about the paranormal over our coffee, and Emma mentioned that she had a Ouija board from forever ago that we could try out.
Great.
I laughed at the idea, mainly because I don't believe in that sort of thing, but I've always thought ghost stuff was kind of fun, I guess. Emma runs home while Helen, Stacy, and I head to a nearby park to pick out a spot.
In the park?
Night had fallen, and it got pretty dark. When Emma showed up, we decided to use the nearby basketball court as our place to play the game.
Oh, so you have to do it in a
I sat
room
out
or
the
something?
First round or two, Emma, Stacy, and Helen began to ask questions. Helen, being the voice of the matter, asked, "Is there any spirit out there that wants to speak to us?" Nothing. Bummer, right? I laughed a bit at the whole situation, but then she asked again. We waited. Nothing. Of course. Then Emma gave it a shot. Is there a spirit out there that wants to communicate? Boom. The little triangle shoots over to yes. I immediately call out Helen as moving the piece, but she swore up and down it wasn't her. Anyway, Emma was talking to this spirit for a little while. It was a boy who slowly got more violent and more violent. The conversation got dark quick. I don't remember the details, but Helen ended that shit before it took off. I was intrigued for some reason, but I kept calling out Helen, as I know she liked drama, for moving the piece, and she told me to go ahead and take her place. I sit down on the basketball court and think this is just absolutely stupid. I decided I was going to make a joke out of it, and being a big James Dean fan, I asked, "Can I speak to James Dean, the actor?" No response. I tried again. Nothing. Then on the third try I said, "Is there anything that wants to speak to me?" Boom. The triangle shoots to yes.
So the third
It
time,
wasn't
it's so weird.
slow like before when Helen was playing. The thing moved so fast my hands were pretty much knocked off. I looked to Emma and Stacy, and both of them were pale as ghosts. No pun intended. I asked them what was up, and they said it wasn't them moving it. Being skeptical, I asked the thing's name. It spelled out C-A-U-S.
Cause?
Cause? I asked. Yes. So I began to talk to this spirit named Cause and asked him to describe himself. He said he was blonde, blue-eyed, and burned. All
Burned?
of which I thought was a weird description, and when I asked what he meant by burned, he said F-I-R-E.
Fire.
I asked.
That's kind of
Did you die in a
sus.
fire? There was some hesitation. I thought I hit the wrong nerve or something with this spirit. It was a long pause and then, yes. I asked what year and it said 1816.
1816?
1816.
Wow.
Okay, so at this point I just started talking to Kaz like an old chum or something. I began to ask what about his family life and things like that. While I didn't believe it, I still was having some fun. I asked him if he could visit me because I thought he was an alright guy. Kaz said D-R-E-A-M-S.
Dreams?
I said, sure, visit me in my dreams. That'd be alright. I ended the conversation not long after that. Mainly because it was getting late and the wind really started picking up. Stacy drove us there, so I jump in her car and she puts on her iPod before taking me home. Really odd thing. Loud, deafening static filled the car. There was a voice, not singing, but rather talking as we both fumbled to either turn off the radio or unplug the iPod. We struggled with the iPod, so I just shut the radio off and we sat and stared at each other. We didn't need to say anything. We were both pretty creeped out, but I figured, hey, Cause seemed alright. I get home a little after midnight and go to bed. That night, I had a dream that I went into my bank to make a deposit. I walked up to the counter and placed the check in front of the teller, who was about my age. He was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Blonde, blue
I
haired.
asked him to cash the check and he just opened the drawer and emptied all the money out, sliding it over to me. I asked him if he's sure and he gave me a wink. He wouldn't speak to me.
It's the ghost.
Then I woke up. I go to the same coffee shop the next day, not really thinking anything out of the ordinary.
Oh,
and
it's the
Emma
blonde-
starts
it's the
talking
blonde,
about how she
blue hair?
wants to do the Ouija board again.
Oh, fuck out of here.
I'm down this time, no questions asked. Any weird dreams? Emma asked me.
Oh, yeah, because he's a
Nothing
dreams.
too odd. I had a dream I was at the bank and this blonde guy gave me the whole drawer. A blonde guy? Yeah. Then I got to what she was getting at. She was implying that the blonde guy in my dream was Kaz.
Yeah.
Could be. I didn't know him. So we go to the park, this time setting it up at one of the pavilions. I cut Helen out of the game right off the bat and began by asking to speak to Kaz. The game piece moved quickly to yes again, and I asked him if he was the one in my dream. Yes.
Told you.
Odd, but whatever. I begin to ask some more questions about his family and all sorts of stuff, but this time he is a bit more standoffish. I got a lot of no's when asking about his siblings, something he said he had, and his parents. He told me he didn't have parents, and I said that was impossible. Did he just not know them? He said, Noparents, no parents, followed by other. So, I asked what he means by other, and he said, no, Person. And I asked to clarify if he was, in fact, a person. No. I asked him again, so if you're not a person, what are you? Caus. Stacy got freaked. She was fairly religious and wanted to end the game. I agreed. I was getting the creeps and went ahead and ended it. I told Helen to try and talk to someone. I was going to have a smoke and watch. Stacy was done and Emma wanted to keep playing. Helen starts trying to talk to someone, but she just keeps getting yes, followed by Caus.
So weird.
And then nothing after that. I told her to quit fucking around, but she was serious. I could tell that she wasn't lying to me, mainly because she wanted to get the fuck out of there as fast as possible.
True.
We pick the board up and go home. I had an uneasy feeling that night, like someone was watching me, but I figured I just had the creeps. Anyway,
No, someone's watching
I got
you.
home a little after midnight again and went to bed. I had another dream.
How about cause?
I woke up in the middle of the night to my dog scratching at my door. She sounded panicked.
Cause is there.
I sit up and could see her shadow under the crack in my door and a red or orange light around it. I jumped up quickly and opened the door. My dog shot out into my room and I stepped out and saw my house burning down around me. The place was engulfed in flames.
Oh,
In
shit.
the center of my living room was the blonde bank teller smiling at me. He just had this really creepy smile. His eyes were wide open and he said, Caus.
Cause.
He just kept repeating it over and over, and then I woke up. I took a break from the board after that. I was busy with other things. I've been running around the city for
A
a
break?
bit,
You should have
but
just
every
stopped
night I got home,
permanently.
I had the same dream every night.
It's so creepy.
Nothing different, just the same dream. Odd. So I go back to the coffee shop later that week and Emma points out that I look tired. I explain my dream and her face just drops. She said that she'd been doing some reading about Ouija boards and the number one rule is to never ask for anything instead of a spirit. Something I did. Or to invite whatever you're speaking to out of the board. Something I also did. Fuck. I figured the best way to end this thing is to put an end to Cause and have one final conversation telling him to go away.
Good luck with that.
We go to the park, the same group as before with me, plus my good buddy
I
Sam
gotta
Watson,
stand, man. I gotta stand.
not his real name, who just didn't believe me. Sam was always like that, but I told him I wasn't fucking around this time. Something weird was going on. Anyway, we're sitting around playing the game under the pavilion again. I try and talk to Cause, and it took a few tries, but he shows up. I ask him if he's evil. No. I ask him if he's good. No. I ask him if he's a spirit. No.
Uh-oh.
I ask him if he's a demon. Yes. So, I don't fuck around with demons, alright? I'm not religious or anything at all, but I grew up Catholic, and the number one thing I always told myself is that if I were to find out that heaven and hell existed, it wouldn't be because I found a demon. So, I get paranoid, like, really paranoid. I start having a panic attack of some sort, which happens to me from time to time, and I ask to end the game. No. I told him to stop showing up in my dreams.
No.
No. I end the conversation anyway and call the local psychic. I know, we have a local psychic. Well, I start to explain the story. She told me not to come over to her place. She believes every word I'm telling her and that she can't help me. When I beg her to tell me what to do, she says that she'd help me for a sum of money I couldn't afford. Either she really didn't want me to show up around her, or she thought she'd get some easy money from a broke college kid.
Yeah.
Either way, I was shit out of luck. So I tell the group what she told me, and before I can finish, there is this creepy, animalistic laugh from the darkness. Everybody jumps, even Watson. It got cold, too.
Oh no.
I remember I was wearing this leather jacket I picked up in Europe, and I was still ice cold. We decided to roll out. The next few days went by slow, mainly because I couldn't sleep. Not at all. I would get the feeling that I was being watched. Wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats. Have the dream that the blonde kid was smiling at me. Sometimes I'd feel like someone would shake me awake. My friends wanted to play the game some more, minus Stacy, and I refused. If this was real, I was in enough shit as it is. I turned to the only person I knew that could help. My father. My dad isn't really a religious man at all, but he did make me go to church as a child. His father was super Catholic, so I think that instilled something in him. I don't know. Anyway, I tell him the story and he thinks it sounds ridiculous. I feel that way telling it now, to be honest. He explains that it is all in my head and that if I realize that, the dreams will stop and I'll be able to sleep again. I took it to heart and thought that maybe all the answers were made up by my unconscious mind, which is a common theory with Ouija boards. Things simmered down after that. I told my friends what my dad said, but not all of them believed it. Mainly because they started having similar dreams of the blonde guy. I figured it was all just psychological. So we stopped playing with the board because school was coming up in a month or so and life just got in the way, but we never revisited it. Mainly because every time they tried and I wasn't around, the board would just remain dead. Emma thought that Kaz took control of the board and that he was the overall dominant entity that took over when I called him out. I brushed it off. However, it is hard for me to brush off completely because I still have dreams from time to time about the blonde guy.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
I guess I should just call him Kaz, because that's what I associate him with anyway.
That's what he
I
is.
no longer feel alone when I'm alone, and this was years ago. Whenever I get depressed or angry, I wonder if it is Kaz or if I'm just finding excuses. Stacy still refuses to go anywhere near Ouija boards after that, even though I told her it was just a game. She really doesn't think so. I just can't wrap my head around the whole thing. I'd like to think my dad was right. However, part of me still thinks that Kaz is real and he wants me to talk to him again because from time to time I think about getting another board and asking how he's doing.
Just 1 second. So to conclude from that video, it's been like 30 minutes since I watched this video now. So where was I? So Ouija board stories. Okay, so I don't know why you would buy a Ouija board in the first place. Like, to be honest, like, and these stories are like really like in depth, and I really do not like that, to be honest. I don't mind it, but it's like too many stories in just like a long period of time, you know what I mean? So it's just like I don't really like that. If you guys have videos you want me to react to, like, feel free to obviously give me the suggestions. But if they're super long, then it just kind of makes me a bit like edgy, kind of like not really want me to do it. It's kind of like boring, you know. If it's like a lot of stories, like 10, it's like okay, cool. But like if it's not, then it's like that video was decent, obviously really long comparing back to yesterday too. So I don't know. I just would hope for shorter videos. I will be doing another Happy Tree Friends reaction tomorrow. I was hoping of doing it today, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I don't know which episode, of 9 Lives or something, that'll be tomorrow. So if anybody's watching this video, that'll be tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't buy a Ouija board. That's all I gotta say for this video. And then you'll be fine. You'll avoid all that 47 minutes. You'll avoid that. Just don't buy a Ouija board and you're good. All I gotta say about that. So sorry if I didn't like react much to it. It's just like so long. It's just so kind of like boring in a way. Like I shorter animated stories. Like it's just that seemed like a movie to me. Like 47 minutes, even though it's 3 stories, that seemed like a movie to me. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Give me more suggestions in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.